Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Perspective on this beautiful Thursday night. We have a good show for you today. And as we always do, we're going to do our introductions. But first, we're always going to kind of share the premise of our platform. And I think the premise of our platform is found right there in the name Perspective. This is a safe place, a safe, a true place, a place where we can share our perspectives, our outlooks, our different lived experiences on a wide variety of different topics and subjects. So you get some of everything. You'll get some very intellectual, some very technical information, and it's really just about sharing. And the main thing is that we just want to respect everyone's point of views. Even just because someone disagrees with you, it doesn't make you right and them wrong, or them right and you wrong. Or them wrong and you right. Basically, it just means that you're different, and differences are accepted and okay. So, with that being said, I am Mr. Eric Butler, aka the Intellect, aka the Atlantic, because I am cold, deep, and choppy. I'm also known as Cullinan 8. I'm the biggest diamond ever found on land. I'm 3,000 plus carats, y'all. So anyway, I'm coming here. I say I'm a Renaissance man. I had a lot of experience, background in talent acquisitions. So I have a lot of hours, a lot of man hours talking to other individuals, digging into their minds, and that's kind of morphed into counseling about careers and even just life in general. I have been a minister in training in my past. I know that's a new one. I'm dropping it on you, but was kind of encouraged to share that. And that is a big foundation within my life and background on my knowledge and things that I come to share. I'm active in the community. I sit on the advisory board of the Empower series, which is a nonprofit that's focused on financial literacy. So those in the LMI community want to impact, share knowledge, inspire, so they don't just survive, but to thrive. And with that being said, I can also add that I'm a co-host. And the reason I'm a co-host, because I have another host who I'm going to pass the mic to, the incomparable, the stellar and outstanding Latoya, aka Doc.
Oh, that was good. That made me sound super important. So, hi everyone. My name is Latoya. I'm a licensed professional counselor in private practice. Let's see. I'm a wife, a mom, an author, a speaker, and I host conferences. I'm still like working that one in. I'm gonna get there. I'm super excited about tonight's show though because we have some guests. Yay!
Yeah.
Yes. All right, so I'm gonna let the guests introduce themselves, and I'm gonna bring them on one by one. And let's go. Hi,
Hello, everyone.
How you
introduce
doing?
yourself. Tell us about you.
So I'm Nikki, and I am a business owner of my own private practice, group practice, called Center to Rise. And I like your introduction, so I guess I can follow it. I'm a mom as well, and I'm just out here trying to save lives through mental.
One client at a time. Y'all, we got one more, and y'all should remember her from last week. Super excited. Ready? Hi.
Hi,
Oh, hello.
I'm Shadell. I am currently a student completing my master's in counseling. I am a member of a non-collegiate Greek organization, and our focus is teen pregnancy prevention and awareness. So it is Teen Pregnancy and Prevention and Awareness Month. So make sure you're having those conversations with your kids. Um, so I'm excited to be here tonight. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course. Of
Thank you for
course.
being here. And for those who may not be 100% clear, Shy was in the comments and was just really dropping some jewels, sharing some correcting, redirecting, and giving us some more accurate information. So really excited to have her here with us. So just to kind of highlight that. What we're going to do is take a moment. Want to read some statements, go through the comments. Mr. Ben Sutter the third, he puts the BS3 in the BS3 in. So what we want to do is you can support BS3 Network by sending stars. Stars help us earn money to continue building a network. We really appreciate that. So if you have the opportunity to do that, drop us a couple of them stars, a star for a star. So with that being said, I'll let Doc kind of present us with our topic and get us started.
So last week we had some really interesting conversation regarding like polyamory, polygamy. I was saying words like throuple and triad because I watch a lot of TV, but I brought y'all some professionals. So either one of you ladies, feel free to jump in. Could you please give us the working definition of a polyamorous relationship? Nicole.
Okay. Well, I didn't want to I'm sorry. I didn't want to overstep Shy. So polyamorous, aka polys, is so many different definitions. So let's just talk about consensual non-monogamy might be the better umbrella to put it in. So consensual non-monogamy is basically saying that you have full autonomy over your life of who you want to engage with, whether it's sexually, emotionally, and financially, whatever level you're saying I have full autonomy of. And we whether you have a marriage or not, we are consenting to this dynamic. The other people are consenting and are aware. It is not something that's hidden. It is very much a working relationship that people are acknowledging, that others are aware of. If that does that make sense?
It did.
Okay.
Yeah. Shy, you want to add something?
I think if we're going to define polyamory, we need to first say that is the love style and not the actual relationship style. The polyamory, the root word is poly, which means more than one.
Right.
And knowing that, like she said, piggybacking on it being ethical, and the emphasis is on like how many partners one can love at the same time. That's how we define polyamory.
Mm-hmm.
So you said how many people you can love at the same time? Now, what's the premise of that?
More than one.
Right. You said it, but it was something you said before that. That's what I had missed. I was trying to understand what
that it is the love style, not the relationship style. There's a difference in that term.
Well, what's the relationship style for like a lot of people?
So
yeah,
the
that's what I was saying, because you
relationship,
like it determined how many people you can love. So I was like, what?
So polyamory, like I said, it means more than one. The root word poly means more than one.
Gotcha. So it's no limit. So not to get that thinking it just has to be
Yes.
one extra or two extra. I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
My bad. I got it.
Yeah, we didn't know. That's why we brought y'all.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So like even in a dynamic, so say that you got married and y'all decided you were monogamous, right? Your marriage was monogamous, and then y'all decided to engage in a polyamorous relationship. Some people go with polygamy. Some people are polyandry, which is women with multiple men. You have multiple layers to that. Some people do something called triad or quads. Is really whatever it is that y'all agree and consent to. So those things are, like she said, more than one. So a triad is usually, 3 people, rather it's man and 2 women, which is your typical thing that people want to promote. But it can also be a woman with 2 men. It can be transgender or not. It's whatever y'all agree, whatever that triad agrees to. Some people do not like to use the word hierarchy, or they want to say everybody is equal. Is whatever you believe in. I think in some situations there is a hierarchy dynamic.
Yes, there's like a primary couple, right? And then like we're the primary, but then we branched off.
Yes, and so some of the other partners might get offended by that because it's supposed to be equal. I think reality also should play a part in some of these dynamics, which we can dive into some of the terms that I have coined myself, being that I have too also participated in polyamorous relationship, and I think that being involved and understanding the dynamic, I respect what it's supposed to look like, but I can tell you, Black poly lifestyle is definitely different from our counterparts of white poly lifestyles, and it's a big genuine difference. So yeah, I don't want to just overtalk everybody.
I think it's important you brought up marriage and polyamory. That if you are in a monogamous marriage and you decide that your love style is polyamory, then that's when you go into open relating and opening your marriage up. That's different than the typical cheating, or because it's consensual, and everyone that's involved knows about everybody. And so that's one of the things that I think that we definitely need to debunk in this conversation, is when you're talking about open marriages and open relating, you are consenting to love more than one person or be involved with more than one person. And that is kind of what the basis of the polyamory love style is.
Okay. I have questions. So y'all, you were saying words like triad, quad. Can I get some working definitions? Like, what does that mean? Because in my mind, the triad is the triangle, and so we all go together. But that's the throuple too, right? But then there are other situations where, don't laugh. I'm so excited to learn about this. But there are other situations where I go with Jeff, and then I might go with, we're gonna say Idris because I really like that name. But Jeff and Idris don't go together. They go with me.
Correct.
You know
So
what I
a
mean?
V.
So there are other
That's a V.
situations. Can we get some definitions?
That's a V. Yes.
Okay, a V
That's a V.
is where everybody go with me, but they don't go with each other.
Right.
Correct.
V.
Correct.
So it's kind of like the A symbol is the triad where everybody can do a situation, and the V is one person, but this person over here, that one over there.
Right.
Okay. But a triad, we all go together.
Right.
Yes.
What's a quad? I'm assuming 4 people, but do everybody go with everybody? Or we swapping? What we doing?
Right. There's levels to it, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Go ahead, Shy. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, so it can branch out. It can be various, like in a quad, like some people in the V may have other partners, right? So that can technically be a quad. Or somebody in the triad, only one person may be involved with that person. It still makes it a quad because there's 4 people involved. So it just depends on what that dynamic is for those couples.
So to be in a quad, there has to be 4 people. Everybody don't go together.
Not necessarily. They could.
Some of us switching, but as long as it's 4 people, it's a quad.
What do you mean switching?
So okay, so like let's say it's 2 girls and 2 boys, but I came into this relationship, and I'm just gonna say Jeff for the purpose of this conversation because that's my husband's name. So I come into this situation with Jeff, right? And then Nicole comes into this situation. We're gonna stick with Idris. But then maybe I get with Idris, like we switched up. You can do that in the quad?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
So next question. So what if it's me and Jeff, and then it's Idris and Bobby? We still a quad?
You can.
It can be like, it just depends on how y'all define it. Now, Idris, Jeff, and Bobby
they have
not.
relations.
Yeah, they may not. But it's still a quad because you're involved with 4 people. Well, 3 other people. Yes,
but they can still as long as we can still okay.
And another dynamic too is you can be married. Like let's say you and Jeff are married, and you say, Jeff, I want to practice, poly, and this is the way that I want to practice. And Jeff can say, okay, I consent to it, but I'm actually going to stay monogamous while you do that. So you can be married, and one partner can agree for you to have other multiple partners because they're not interested.
right.
So
like they only want me.
Yes.
yeah.
Is that hard for the other person? Because I feel like we'll just keep going with the me and Jeff thing. I just feel like if Jeff said, "Hey T, I want to be poly," and I said, "Okay, cool," in my mind, I'm now poly too.
Yes, you can be. You
Well,
definitely can, because some people do say, okay, I'm willing, I'm open to try it as well. Or some people say, no, I'm not interested, I'm not ready. Or they kind of want to put their feet in the water and then see what it's looking like. Because remember, we have been trained to be one and one, right?
Right.
So even the comfortability level of being honest that I'm interested in someone else is uncomfortable, right? You have to have a strong bond to have that conversation with your partner to say, I am interested in other things. And it might not just be sexual. I really love spending time with Janet, and I love her energy and her passion for things, and I really want to date her, but I don't want to have sex with her. There are relationships where it is something outside of just sexual as well. That's where that full autonomy comes in.
What you was talking about in the beginning when you said emotionally, sexually, financially, whatever.
Correct. Yes. Now, old school. Oh, sorry, you was gonna ask something.
No.
Okay, so old school wise, which I coined this term called woke and broke, and it is the um individuals who say, hey, let's build nation, let's build kingdoms, things like that, right? And so they give you this ideology or belief system that if we all come together financially and we combine income, we can grow quicker.
Yeah, because we was on that last week. Yeah.
Which is a fact. If indeed I've seen some of my Black people do this. I personally, and maybe Shy can join it. I personally have not seen not a one be able to create, build nation type of thing. I might not have been around the right people at that time that I was involved into it, and the people that I met. I know when we tried to combine, the math did not math. It did not make any financial sense for it didn't make sense. So if I'm carrying too much of the load, it doesn't make sense for me. So I think too, when I think of woke and broke, is this a avenue for manipulation? Because there are people who victimize the poly world. There are. So we have to also talk about that, or that their dynamic only looks like two women and one man. I am the biggest advocate for women to go out here and have them two men on there. I am the what you do. So woke and broke is one of my terms, and my statement is, let me tell you, it says what's good for you is good for me.
Amen.
I can too.
uh,
So that works for me though. So if we're gonna open up doors, I practiced in my past relationships. If I practice, and if you decide, if I couldn't allow another woman in my home because she wasn't making the same money as I didn't see this benefit of why would you need to help take care of my child. You got your own child, there's no kids. I didn't see the benefit. So if you are going to want another woman in our home, she needs to bring her husband. So that was a shock, right?
go and pop off the top off the bottle. Get the
And so for me, that was the only way that it would work for me. And even though we had engaged in triad and I really went, I mean, I'm like a research person. Okay, this is what it's supposed to be. This is, let's do it like this. And then I became educated. Your dynamic doesn't have to be kingdom building. I found others who said, I ain't combining no money with him. I'm just kicking it with him. And I got another man in Houston that I want to go see. And I met other women who was like, I ain't doing that, right? And then you do have traditional, what I would call traditional, where they are very much open for that triad. But for me in my life, it doesn't sit right with me. So if I was to ever explore it again in my life, the woman would definitely have to bring her man, and I have to be interested in him.
Yeah, I think, well, because we did touch on this about you know, it not just being, because I think many times, because the show is about pros of it, the cons of it, which I think we're moving into now, and the stigmas that are attached to it. So, but those factors like the pros, so that's a great segue into, that's one of the pros that was mentioned, is if you get individuals who are, you know, responsible financially, and you combine, you know, to have three incomes in a home, of course, straightforward, but you really just kind of opened up and gave another layer to it, say, explaining that many times people are exploiting it, first of all, but I think that goes to show, because you got people doing the same thing, exploiting it even in a monogamous form, you know what I'm saying, trying to do that. So I think, you know, it opens up the question that if anything you're going to do is still going to have all the premises of any relationship, which is conversation. Yeah, you need to open up your books. I open up my books, and we'll see how this thing gonna work out. Because it is so me. Now, if that's your motivation, then you need to lead with that, which I think opens up a door of clarity. Because most times, anytime you mention poly anything, whether it's two men, one woman, or one woman, multiple men, or whatever dynamic, everybody just goes to think it has something to do. It's sexually led all the time. So being in that environment, so how do you, I don't know, so how do you do it? How do you kind of combat that? But, you know, what are some of the stigmas that you've had to fight off or maybe overlook, you know about?
Definitely, that is a major myth in the polyamory community, is that it's about sex, or that everyone is having orgies, everybody is having sex with one another. Like, that's not what polyamory is about. There's a difference in being swingers and being in an open relationship. And swinging, that's a whole different, that's another show, right? But being in poly relationships, these are genuine connections. The partners have monogamous style relationships with multiple people. I think that's the best way to explain it. For instance, if we're going back to the scenario that Doc gave us earlier about Idris and Nikki and Bobby, like, everybody has a genuine connection with one another. It's not, oh, well, I'm just sleeping with one person, you know, like, and that may be the dynamic for those people, but one of those people in that relationship, it could solely be about it. It could solely be a platonic relationship. Like, we just get together to talk and spend time together. We might read books together, whatever. Or it could be a financial means to that dynamic. Like, this may be the person that financially takes care of me, but there's no sexual relationship there. So it just varies. And there's definitely a level of maturity that comes with that. Like, you have to be able to have real conversations with one another, and you have to know what your place is in the dynamic. And to answer your question, Nikki, I have seen relationships that they are definitely doing kingdom building. They are financially secure. They are doing really, really well in their dynamics. And to also piggyback on there can be one person in the dynamic that's monogamous with somebody that's polyamorous. Like, that was definitely my situation. I was involved with somebody that practiced polyamory. I'm not. I don't subscribe to, that's not my love style, but my partner was polyamorous. So yes.
So this is just where my mind went. If your partner is practicing it, but you're not, but does that automatically have you practicing it?
No.
Oh, okay. So hold on. I think I got it. So you were monogamous to your partner, But your partner's love expression, love style, I think you called it, was poly. So he loved you, but he loved poly too.
Or he he had another partner. Yes. Yes.
Got it. Okay, I
Yes.
got it. So I think what Eric is saying was you're in a poly relationship, so that makes you poly, and you're saying no, poly is not the relationship; it's a love style. That's
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Which
So
help?
this
Okay.
is the V that you guys were that we talked about early, right? Like he would have been the center. I was a partner. He had another partner, but I was not partners with her.
So
Does
y'all
that make
me.
does that make the V make
Yep.
sense?
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I'm glad to hear she has had an experience seeing this, because that's what drew me into it. Seeing the nation building. I think it's so powerful to see Black people truly take ownership and
Mm-hmm.
create. And so when I hear that we have purchased land, we have homes, we have done those things. So I love that the people that were trying to participate with us did not own any land, did not own a home, could not have the credit to do so. And so for me, I didn't see that for me. But if I had somebody who was able to do that, yeah, let's do it. Let's combine income. And something else is swinging and poly is a freaking gray area, because you can be uh polyamorous and also be a swinger.
Exactly.
I
You
question me, my turn. So the swinging is about the sex. Y'all saying the poly is about the love, but the swinging that's got to be about the sex,
So
right?
meeting with other people, your poly dynamic can be about the sex, just like monogamous. You can have a friend with benefits. You can be polyamorous and have a friend with benefits too. It don't have to be anything other than just sex.
But from a general, everybody's different. I know there's nuances and there's going to be an outlier for every situation. But generally speaking, swinging is about the sex. Yes or no?
It's a loaded question. So yes, typically yes.
Okay.
However, it
Well,
has evolved where swinging groups come together and they engage in other things outside of just sexual experiences, right? So they have meetups, they have different rules and regulations that you must follow per each group. So there's different levels to swinging as well, right? So because you can be BDSM and not have sex with the partner that you play with and role play with. That's a whole nother umbrella. But can people get them mixed up? Absolutely. So one of the things that you asked in the intellect, you said, what's the pros and cons? I think that is a con, because when I won't say came out, when people were aware that I practiced, poly, they automatically thought that I was just some freak, that I was out here just.
see, I don't even think I'm sorry to interrupt, but I hate that they think it's not a practice. It's like a decision. I hate the fact that people are criticized for making it a personal decision
Oh
on
yeah.
on that. You know what I mean? Like the it's like, oh, you like that. It doesn't have to be vilified. I mean, and then
But it
also,
is, though.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It is, because sometimes women felt uncomfortable around you, as if you were going to do something disrespectful to address or approach their partners. And you are unaware, because I don't know if Sha can speak to this, but you're unaware that even someone felt like this, but when you're not involved, you don't kind of understand. But I
Yeah,
say ask.
yeah.
Have conversations like these.
I think that's where jealousy comes into play. And I
Mhm.
think the myth is that people in polyamorous relationships are not jealous, but jealousy is a human emotion. So everybody gets jealous. There was definitely some moments of jealousy in my dynamic. Not necessarily me, because I knew what I was getting into when I got into it. But from my partner's other partner, there was jealousy, because when you see people experiencing new relationship energy, um, it's hard for someone that's been in a relationship with somebody for years, and this new person comes in and you get to see all this excitement and they're doing all these things, and you're like, wait a minute. Hey, remember me over here? Like, I've been with you for 20 years, and now, it's you feel like this was somebody else. Like, let me pause and breathe through this. And so for us, I think that's where counseling came in. That it was like, okay, let's get someone to help us work through these emotions, so that you know that he still loves you, but he loves me too, right? And I'm not trying to take away from what you all have, and I don't want you to feel like you can take away from what we have. And that is why I wanted to work with couples that are in polyamorous relationships. Our counselor was not able to support us in that. The counselor. I'm sorry.
And as a counselor, they don't teach us that.
Right.
Like, there's no book, no class. It's not even mentioned. When you take your family class, couples is like a couple of chapters, and then it's family, and they don't talk about that.
Wow.
Or at least they didn't. I'm kind of old.
No, you're right. They don't.
And you're saying couples, but even, I mean, the dynamic of poly.
It wasn't addressed in my program.
Yeah, right. And you said and then a small portion on just couples in general, right?
Yeah,
from a monogamous standpoint. So that's interesting.
Hit the comments.
Yes. So the comment is, Alexis Butler says, "How do you not get jealous in these situations, though?" And I think that, were you speaking to that question?
Jealousy is a human emotion. Like, everyone gets jealous at some point. You're going to see something that is going to cause your heart to pitter patter a little bit, and you're going to be like, wait a minute, I'm not okay in this moment. But it's important that you have a conversation and you address that. Like, hey, like, I didn't feel good in that moment. I was a little jealous, but then, like, if you're having the right conversation and you're able to communicate with your partner, then they're going to reassure you, like, hey, it's okay for you to be jealous, but I still love you. I still want to be with you. You're still my person, and this person is still my person as well. And so the constant communication is important.
I feel like that would be so hard to hear. Like, I'm just really trying to imagine Jeff saying to me, "You my person, but Keisha is too." I want to fight.
I totally agree.
Ma'am, if you agree to be in this dynamic, you cannot fight Keisha.
Yeah,
you got to work through that.
Now you got to know to be able to go into that. I don't think you can even go into that if you have any sliver of doubt that you can't handle that.
Oh,
you got to know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You really, because it's going to cause a problem. And Alexis also says, I'm sorry, I was going to read the comments. Alexis says, "Do people find it attractive that other people want their partner? And is it a pleasure thing?"
I think that's in any relationship. I don't want to be with a man that another woman don't want. Like, just, we're going to be real about it. I don't want you to want her, but I want her to think that you're handsome and, or something like that. So yeah, I don't think I don't think it's necessarily a pleasure thing, but I think most people want to be with somebody that somebody else finds attractive.
I'm going to answer that one.
Okay, so the next question is, what if someone changed their mind? Go ahead, Nikki.
And you can. And even if it causes this, disruption, it is a choice. You do not have to feel or be manipulated to stay in a situation that does not serve you. And I think that we have to have more conversations about it, because sometimes people might feel, well, I signed up for this and now it's no longer working. I signed up. I was ready to go. It was great. I thought it was going to be a certain way. And then the math didn't math for me. The whatever it was didn't work for me. Then when I said, let's add a man in the relationship, that didn't work for him. And so then
Nikki, So what was the aspect of it that you're talking about it like you changed your mind, but was it the financial portion of it? Or
All of
and you
that.
might have been answering it right then, but because then
Yeah,
you
it was
mentioned
no benefit for me. It was no benefit on the basis of what the leadership that I was under, and I call it the leadership because I still looked at my spouse at the time as the provider, as this leader of our dynamic. And I didn't see after you're in it, I didn't see the benefit for me. Of course he
understood.
had a benefit because he had two women.
Well, I'm just talking about from a fun because I do this. That's what I'm saying. I'm separating it from the relational part and then I say the business aspect of it because I think unions, relationships, marriages, it's definitely a business aspect to it.
Absolutely.
So I'm
So
saying, was it the business wasn't being done right, and you was like, that's not benefiting me on the business side, or was it I'm not being benefited on the relational side? Like I ain't spending enough time with them. He's treating me differently than them. Which one was it that kind of really made you change your mind?
I think he did a really good job. It made him do more. It was like he was doing more. I don't think that was the issue. I think because I was so mindset of what does this look like in 5 years when I open up my practice? How does it benefit me? Parenting styles. We don't even talk about that when we're talking about nation building. So that's people in one. Well, the way that I don't know about Shy, but the way that we were doing it, we were supposed to have another partner in the home. She already had a daughter. I had a daughter. He had a son. And so we were supposed to do it like that. However, if you making $12 an hour, I think for me, I wasn't making as much money then. I think I was making like $55,000 a year. My husband was making about the same. What are we saving? What are we building your credit? So it just didn't work for me. And I think because I had that business mindset, I'm educated.
So it was the business. Y'all weren't even in I'm gonna pull this one out and I'm probably gonna write a note on this. Even in a poly situation, whether if it's an A or a V, you have to do this with equally yoked individuals. You need to be
Well, yeah,
equally
in the dynamic in which we want it, yeah. So
right.
if your credit is bad and then you don't have a vehicle, who helping you buy your vehicle? We supposed to put money in the pot and then the money help you buy I'm not helping you buy a vehicle. So I think it was a lot of selfishness on my part because I built myself where I needed to be. And I wasn't going to help anyone get to my level. You should be coming into a dynamic with
And that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you need to be equally yoked from the beginning because it's a straightforward dynamic. If you have two people on level 2 and then you join someone that's on a level 1, then you got to take out of your 2 and pour into their 1 to get it up there. That's not building.
right.
That's not gonna rise. So you wouldn't want to do that. You want to come in equally yoked where you can now everybody's in position to kind of pull some weight that can help add to the greater good of the union, right?
Right. And then so some of it was, well, then they can pick up in other ways, such as cook or, have the home clean because they only working part-time and things like that. And that didn't work for me neither because I can hire someone to do that. So I think it's just different levels.
It just was not working for
Yeah.
me.
I think it varies from relationship to relationship. Let me say this to you that you are not selfish in that didn't work for you. Like don't honor that in you. Like you were definitely not selfish. It just didn't work for you.
Yeah.
I've seen dynamics where it can work with someone not necessarily being on the same financial plane as everybody else. It just depends. I think our dynamic, I was definitely probably the breadwinner in the situation. And they provided other things at that time. Like there was always somebody that was going to be at home when the kids came home. There was always somebody that was going to be able to pick somebody up from school or drop them off at an activity. It was like having a nanny that could support in areas when I wasn't necessarily available, right?
Now we understand where that jealousy came from. She was getting treated like a nanny.
Yeah, because doesn't the relationship feel off? So I watched this show called Seeking Sister Wife, and so the black couple on there, the Snowdens. Okay, we're not gonna talk about their controversy and their abuse allegations. We're gonna talk about the dynamic that we saw on TV.
Okay.
But it felt like to the world that Ashley, that's the wife, she just wanted somebody to help her with the kids. And so here's my thing. I got these 3 kids. You trying to be down with my husband? Make a bottle. Like, what's up? Like,
absolutely. Oh yeah,
like I need somebody that can clean because I don't have time. Like I got other stuff that I want to be at the kids' activities. You gonna make sure my house is clean and everything and that. Yes.
See, I feel like I wouldn't do somebody right. I feel like I would literally be like, girl, you are here for the help. You when I'm on my cycle or when I'm too tired, you tap in and you
thank
clean
you.
up. And see, that's why
tag it's your turn.
Yeah, and it does work like that for people. And see, and that's for people who need that. When you get to a certain level of your life, I don't need that. No.
Wait, y'all lost what we don't need, Nikki?
I don't need you to come help me clean and take care of my children because I don't have a multitude of them. I need for us to really, I think my problem is just in relationships, period. I have never looked at a dynamic and it wasn't a benefit for where we're going, right? If we can't build businesses or do anything, marriage is a business. When you connect with me, it is a reason. I do love you, right? I chose to marry you because I love you and you love me. But then what? What legacies are we leading? What trust are we opening?
It's okay to have both, Nikki. Nikki trying to soft land that plane like, look, I love you, but listen, if the finances ain't adding up, listen, it just ain't adding up. We might have to rethink this. It's okay to say that, Nikki. It's okay. So, just go and land the plane. They're going to get out the way.
It's the comments.
We're going to read the comments. Alexis says, okay, yes, I do want someone that everyone finds attractive, but not to the point where they can get a taste. but I'm asking about people who do allow their partner to do their own thing, probably in a more of a, I guess, maybe swinging circumstance. She said, make a bottle. And then she said, I'm yelling.
So I think the first part of her question is a monogamous response. Like, this is my man, hey, it's me, you against the world. That's genuine. But when you're poly, I mean, it turned me on to see people talk to my past relationship. I was like, okay. I don't know if that's like a low-key kink or something, but it made me feel
you're attached to your kink.
Yeah, it was like, okay. And then you better not fumble the ball like we was. You better not miss this ball. You better not.
You was going like he better. You was like
you better show
coaching like you better go in there.
Don't make me look bad.
Yes. Like that was my boy. Like we don't make me look bad. You if she interested and then you being cheap and you don't want to take somebody on a date because she want to go on it. We can't do that. Like if you're gonna show up.
That's interesting.
So let me ask this. I think the obvious con for me, a monogamous minded person, is the extra person. But I feel like if your love language or your love style, is poly, what's a con to that for y'all?
So that was not my love style, but definitely the con would be somebody coming in and stepping on my toes. Like there's still some dynamics in the relationship. Like, okay, wait, stay out my kitchen. because this is my area. Like,
Hold on, pause, flag time. You can have sex with your man, but she can't go in the kitchen.
I leave my pots put a certain way.
That's not your area, ma'am. Your area, like, I don't know what you need to do, but cooking, that's my lane. Stay out of my kitchen.
And I'm over here like, shy. Girl, let that girl cook. And you over there and watch TV and
I'm not gonna eat that. I'm not gonna eat it. My kid's not gonna eat it, and he ain't gonna eat it because he done got accustomed to my cooking now. So no, find something else to do.
So that's Shy's boundary. So if she was to be in that, she would say, "This is my boundary.
Right.
So I consent to this,
but I don't consent to this."
Right.
So Shy, let me ask you this: so y'all all lived together when you was in your V?
We did not live together. We lived close.
Okay.
Our kids went to school together. We shared different responsibilities.
Girl, you had a good thing. Y'all, what responsibilities? Like money?
Absolutely. Like, all the money went into one, and I divvied out allowances after
I divvied out
bills and stuff like that. Yeah, like,
ooh,
yep.
Ooh, hallelujah. Okay, I didn't know. I would come through.
I mean, but again, those are the conversations that you have to have before you decide to get in it.
So
I did a lot of research
first, and then he was like, "Hey, babe, I'm poly in my love style," or was he with her and then found you?
They were married.
Okay.
So a little backstory. My ex-husband she cannot cook, Alexis. My ex-husband was actually swinging, which is how they met. I had no idea. I was clueless to all this. And in trying to save my marriage, I started researching because I wanted to fix it, because you don't want to fail at marriage, right? Like, that's supposed to be forever. So if I can fix this with my husband, then maybe we can work things out. He won't feel the need to do these kind of things. So I started researching. He had actually propositioned my partner's wife. And so my partner actually thought that we were swinging together. Now, I'm clueless. And so he sent me a message, and he told, like, years later, he told me, "Yeah, I knew from the way you responded to me that you were clueless to what was going on." He never snitched on my ex-husband, never told anything. Like, it was years later that we had a conversation, that we reconnected. And by this time, I've done so much research, like, I was aware of what the situation should look like. And we were friends, and it grew into something more.
That man had patience and ball. He just said, I'm gonna give it a little time. I'm gonna come back around and boop.
Okay, we got a comment. Come on, you read the comment.
Alexis Butler says, "How do you invite a +1 to your relationship?" That's a good question.
That's a great question.
I don't know. I think if you practice polyamory and you decided that's your love style, I think you just meet people naturally, and it goes from there. I'm
sorry. I'm going to interject. You said we can't meet monogamous people, can't meet monogamously, just naturally. So what do you mean by naturally? So I would say there has to be, or there's some groups, or there's some, because y'all talk like there's families, and
there are. My situation naturally happened. We literally met at a party, and again, I'm clueless to whatever else is going on, right? And so, like, we exchange information over social media, and again, for years, we were just friends. Like, I'm none the wiser. Like, I have no idea. Right. So that was very natural that we met, right?
He was sowing seed. No, you met him.
He was strategic. He was strategic.
He met him.
I can see where you
because your ex-husband propositioned his wife, right?
Right.
So it wasn't like, I just snatched. He was like,
No, but we met naturally. We literally met at a party where like there were a bunch of people. Like it wasn't fix your face. It
Right?
wasn't
Yeah,
that
because
kind of party.
I'm just not gonna come out the fact your husband messed up. He
Yeah.
he, he brought you to the
but,
wolf, and
but
the
on
wolf was
my
like,
stance, it was natural. Like I just
"Oh,
met
she
this
don't
person.
know,
Like
but
I
she
had no
gonna know
idea.
that a little bit." He just waited. He just bided his time. I'm just saying. So it wasn't natural. He kept it that way. I'm just telling you. He got you.
I can dig it. I can dig it.
Okay,
I'm glad
so
we can unravel this after all these years. You was thinking that it's just natural, though. You were selected and plucked.
she was
Right.
selected. She was
From the
poached.
So I was poached. That's what you think?
You
Okay.
was
All
selected,
right.
plucked.
Okay, Nicole, you want to answer this question? How do you invite people to your relationship?
So it is groups, it's communities, because it is honestly almost like a sacred space, because you have to find like-minded people, and you go to these events. There are private events, there are like everybody join and go to a cruise, um and we all gonna do a kickback, and so those types of things do happen. And most times, because you are in certain groups, they might have like a Facebook page or different groups that you can add, so you kind of already identify someone that you might be interested in by watching them for a couple of months, how they interact. And so you and your partner might talk. There have been times that me and my partner at that time would talk, and I would say, I'm very interested in this person, and he would actually address the guy for me. And I was always pulling women. That was easy for me because I talked to anybody. But yeah, that could be a way, or go talk to her yourself, or go talk to himself. It was always a supporting thing.
Some
What
So
about
couples
there are
also only
places.
want unicorns.
So unicorns is used interchangeably in the poly world versus the swinging world. They need to kind of, and so we try to say in poly world is solo poly, meaning this person is single. They do not have a primary. They are a single person dating multiple people, which is solo poly. In the swinging world, you are a unicorn. You are having a primary partner, and you can go and engage with whoever you want to, how you want to.
that's regular?
Yeah, it is regular, but she's telling you the term. She's telling you the terms of what it
My
is.
man could just hear. I'm like, now this just sound like everyday life right there.
Yeah.
For most, well, not for me, but I mean for others.
Mhm.
I know some people.
It to be honest, when I hear Shai's experience in the things that, like she said, she was the, to me, she was the queendom. She divvied out coins, made sure that things were operating in whatever agreement. That is ideal for me. But some people are very modern now and say, I don't need that. I don't want to build nothing with you. I want to date who I want to date. I want to have sex with who I want to have. Matter of fact, I don't even want to meet your kids.
Now
Everybody.
I'm like that's. But I get it. I get it. It just falls in the full definitions because we got non. It's not necessarily. It's non-monogamous.
Yes,
Non-monogamous.
ethical non-monogamy is used interchangeably with consensual non-monogamy.
Got you. So there's a lot of levels. So it's a lot to research out there. And we're kind of coming down to the last 5 or 7 minutes.
Before we go,
No, absolutely. No, I was just saying that we're not wrapping up. I'm just kind of giving a timestamp there. So definitely if there's anything you really want to ask, you want to get out there, we want you to do so. So
I did want to just touch bases on, the sexual experiences, kind of what y'all did, because I didn't get to say anything about that, and went in to say I agree with Shy. It's not always about the sex, but are there great sexual experiences in those dynamics? Absolutely, just like it would be great sexual experience if you was monogamous and you had a threesome with your partner. It's sexual liberation, right? And um, so yeah, there are several sexual experiences that you can experience being poly or monogamous.
right.
I agree with that.
Yeah. I think
I, I think we need to debunk that. That's the fix, though. saying that you're poly because you want to have an experience, because just because you can be in a monogamous relationship and have a sexual experience, that doesn't mean that you're poly. So you can't interchange those words. And I think a lot of people often try to do that, and that's not fair to the poly community, that they interchange those terms like that. So if you're a monogamous couple and you decide you want to have a threesome, have your threesome. That doesn't mean you're poly. And just because you're in a poly relationship doesn't necessarily mean that you're having threesomes.
And then it's a way to balance out your dynamics. So sometimes, so say that you do have a primary partner and you and your primary partner agree on Wednesdays. You go out with your partner, your additional partner. I go out with my additional partner on Wednesday. Some people have to create schedules with their other dynamics, and that works for them. Or you do every other weekend, I do every other weekend. That is definitely a dynamic that that's a balance of your dynamics. It's making a schedule.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the takeaways are, it's still going to be, it is work. It's not as predicated. It's not predicated on sex and what I think negative thoughts that people I would say the monogamous minded group would think automatically is the motivation is behind the extra partner or something like that. Because I think there are dynamics where there's sex that's only happening between two and not even the other, and or very seldomly, so to speak. And then it could be the motivation could be from a business standpoint, where like, no, I really have an agenda to combine my life and my finances with someone that makes us all more fiscally stronger and poignant. And we have a similar goal of building something, whether it be a business or gaining land or getting into real estate, and we can do that. So it's very interesting to understand that I would say anyone who watches this or sees this, that they can walk away. If you meet a poly couple or someone who's practicing, what is it? The what kind of non-monogamy?
Ethical
non-monogamy that is not always predicated on an advantage from a sexual standpoint or a business standpoint, but it can be a very layered and leveled reasonings why. But it's not always just about sex and someone having more than one sexual partner, which I think is an automatic thought when it comes to this type of conversation.
I would like to leave the resources for those who are watching, just to get some starter books. You can look up a book called The Ethical Slut. Also a book called More Than Two.
So I want to type that into the comments. The ethical slut.
Yes, it's called The Ethical Slut. More Than Two. More Than Two. And Polysecure. It's also on Instagram. If you look up Black Poly Nation, they have great resources, because we didn't even get into all the titles, because it's several. It will take multiple shows to educate people on the layers of the poly dynamics. So Black Poly Nation is a great Instagram resource as well.
Okay.
And Black and Poly as well is another Facebook group.
What you say?
Black and Poly.
Black and Poly.
Yes. Kenya Stevens is someone that's definitely is a pioneer in the polyamory community. She is who's on the show, Seeking Brother Husbands. So definitely researching her and her husband, Carl Stevens, you will find a lot of information about polyamory and open marriages, and kingdom building, which is something that was brought up.
And we're right at the last minute, but I definitely want to give you an opportunity to answer this question. Just, can someone tell a story about their worst poly moments? Have nothing bad to say. It was all great.
So my takeaway was, when you go to counseling, because you're gonna need some counseling, find a therapist that is at least educated on poly or aware of poly. Like, you have to find the right therapist.
Right.
Because if you have a strictly monogamous minded, unable to see anything else therapist, it sounds like y'all are going to have a bad experience.
Absolutely.
Indeed. Well, we're down to the last 10 seconds. We want to thank everyone. Thank you, Alexis. You held down the comments for us today. And then we did have a Facebook user that commented, so we appreciate it. And I want to thank Shy and thank Nikki. Thank you so much for coming on the show and blessing us here on The Perspective. You were very insightful, gave us some really great things to think about, to look at. I really appreciate it. And I'm pretty sure if we have some responses, we might have to have you back to answer a few other questions. So thank you so much. Thank you to all our viewers. For everybody out there, just make sure that you live in truth, stay balanced, and respect reality. And we'll catch you on next week, next Thursday at 8:30. Bye-bye.